daily basis for decades now. What was your initial reaction to the firing of Claude Julien and the timing of it as well?
Well, you know what? I was surprised this morning, but when you look at the last games that they played, losing twice against the Ottawa Senators, losing 3 times so far this season, that's heavy for a head coach. But the thing is that starting from today, the Canadiens are playing almost every other night. So it's going to be really difficult for the new coach to come in and to change anything. February the 13th in Toronto, would the Canadiens have lost then instead of coming back in the third period and winning 2-1 against the Leafs? I would have expected something to happen because the Canadiens had then 7 days to practice and to start something new. So for me, the timing is surprising, but the reality of the team, the skid on which they are right now, I mean, Marc Bergevin had probably no choice. If he wants to make the playoff, he needed to do some changing.
It's interesting, last year when they were in the playoffs and Claude Julien had to have his heart procedure and left the team, it was Kirk Muller who took over the team on an interim basis, and not Dominique Ducharme, who was also on the bench at that point. And yet now Muller is fired with Julien and Ducharme takes over on an interim basis. What did you think of that decision?
Well, it goes with the reality of the Montreal Canadiens and the reality of the province and the city. I mean, you need to have a bilingual coach in Montreal. For me, it's obvious. It's a reality. And in that fashion, because of what happened, the emergency basis that happened in the playoff, Kirk was able to do it. Could Kirk Muller be the Montreal Canadiens head coach? For me, I would say yes. There are a few guys, for me, that could come in, and the fact that they don't speak French would not be a problem. Kirk won the Cup in Montreal. He's a Montreal Canadian. He's a Montrealer. In many points, he's a Quebecer. So in that fashion, I would have believed that Kirk could have a say into this. But when you look around, he's been around the Canadiens for a long time. He was a head coach in Carolina. I was an assistant in St. Louis, was looking for a head coach job, never got it. So because of what happened today, the way I see things now, and future will tell us if we are right or not, but the Canadiens are moving along with a younger guy, Dominique Ducharme, who has no experience in the NHL, but won the World Juniors, so he might be able to give an influx to this team really quickly because they need a quick fix to make sure that they will get some results on the ice.
All right, so the Montreal Canadiens come out of the gate with just one regulation loss in their first 10 games of the season. And now they've only won 2 of their last 7. And they're battling for 4th spot and a playoff spot. Realistically, what is this Montreal Canadiens team? Are they a playoff team, or should they be contending for top spot in the division?
You know what, Gino? I believe that with the changes that were made, that team, the Montreal Canadiens, is a playoff team. The playoffs this year are just not a dream. They are a reality. They must make the playoff because of the changes they made, because Weber is still at his somewhat the prime of his career, because Carey Price is still one of the best in the business. But when you look at the result, it's not the way that the Canadiens are trending right now. I don't believe that the Canadiens have what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. Let's not kid ourselves here, but I thought that the Canadiens were a playoff team, that they had as many chances as Toronto and the other Canadian team to get out of the Northern Division and to get to the Final Four. When they got there, whatever happens, happens. But for me, the playoffs are and still are a must for the Canadiens. And by the way things were going now, they were going down, and that's why Marc Bergevin needed something. He brought some good players to these teams. Before, the Canadiens were dreaming about the playoff. This year, it's a reality for them, and I believe that they still are able to make it, and afterwards, we'll see what happened.
All right, let's talk Marc Bergevin. Is he under the gun right now? Does he have to turn this around to save his own job?
Of course he does. I mean, he still has 1 year remaining to his contract. He got a lot of chances by the owner, Jeff Molson. The plan took some years, some time. He kept a lot of money under the cap because he felt that under him, the team was not strong enough. Last fall, when he realized that the kids were able to do the jump on the center line, and I'm talking here about Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kotkaniemi, he decided to go around, decided to give some good contracts to Gallagher, to Petrie, brought some veteran players, some scorers by Toffoli and Anderson. So he gave to his coach a team that is able to win. Now, the team is not winning now, he changes the coach. But if that team that Bergevin molded to his taste is not able to win under another coach, at some point he will have to answer to tough questions, and he might be fired too at some point. It's a game of results. The coach was not getting them, he got fired. If the GM is not getting those results this year or next, I mean, he will be gone too. That's the reality of the game.
All right, Francois, thanks for this. Francois Gagnon of RDS has joined us.